The weirdest thing happened, though.
What's that?
It's like everyone who wrote in, their name matched their state.
Stop.
I know. It's a weird thing.
Carla, you know what happens to people that lie?
Well, as a therapist, not really too in tune with the emotional awareness of a brisket. Haven't really done that one before.
No.
So emotional autopilot. A lot of times when we're dealing with so much chaos, you don't want to just throw it up every time you talk to somebody.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Anger, I think it gets a bad rap. Anger is not a bad emotion.
It's not a bad thing. It's not.
Anger drives us to change. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what is it that you're really needing in that moment?
Yeah, what's it feeling?
What is that underlying need?
But
Comfort,
what if you don't know?
Control, escape, kind of that emotional.
But is that good or bad? Because some people just feel like I think sometimes they can't do without it.
Hey there, welcome to the Mental Perk Podcast. I'm Karla Hutcherson, licensed professional counselor.
And I'm Brandi Mock, entrepreneur, author, and community leader. And we're here to talk about real people, real issues, and real talk.
Here we go again. Welcome back to the Mental Perk.
Welcome back.
This is the podcast that focuses on real people, real issues, and real talk. You know what? Today we have a super special episode.
We do, don't we?
We do. Tell me all about it.
Well, we asked people from all over.
We did. I made a cute little video. Hope you saw it.
From the country.
Yeah. We
in the
asked y'all to
country,
write in.
from all over. And we got people coming in with questions from all over.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. The weirdest thing happened, though.
What's that?
It's like everyone who wrote in, their name matched their state.
Stop.
I know. It's a weird thing.
Carla, you know what happens to people that lie?
I'm just saying it happened.
You know what happens to people that lie?
It's a Pinocchio effect.
I was going to say they go to hell.
I'd rather have my nose grow than go to hell, but I'm just saying.
They got some plastic surgeons out there.
We can fix a nose thing. I can't fix hell.
Get a call from Carla. It's hot down here.
Yeah, it's hot.
It's hot.
Send me some ice.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, so our first question came from Alabama and Alan.
Alabama Alan, we love that.
Yeah,
Hi,
so
Alabama Alan.
He chimed in, and these are actually kind of funny.
Some of them are.
He chimed in, Dear Mental Perk, is it normal to get emotionally attached to the crock pot asking for me and my brisket?
Well, as a therapist, not really too in tune with the emotional awareness of a brisket. Haven't really done that one before.
No.
But I can tell you that people do form emotional attachments to things.
Right.
If you think about when you're little, what do you normally attach to, like a blankie or a passy, you know, that kind of thing? As you get older, there's other things that you might form attachment to. Some people form attachment to their cars or
I have a pillow that
a certain pillow. Yeah, so we do form an attachment to things that provide us comfort, security, safety, kind of that emotional.
But is that good or bad? Because some people just feel like I think sometimes they can't do without it.
So
tell me how would you walk someone through that?
It's if it's an unhealthy attachment, if it's just something that provides you comfort, I can see that. Such as Alan in his crock pot, when he cooks in his crock pot, he might have that comfort food, like a little mac and cheese or
But if Alan's carrying his crock pot around with him.
Yeah, now that's a different story. That is a totally different story. I know. I'm just saying because if Alan's just like, you know, hey, I've had a really rough week, I'm going to make something in my crock pot and it provides him that soothing comfort, I think that's fine,
yeah,
right?
I do too.
But if it's like you said, he has to take it everywhere he goes, he's like using it in the middle of the night, you know, that kind of thing, then you're talking. He's
going into a 10-step program.
A little bit of a whole, let's get some therapy on this one, right?
Got it. Yep.
But I think it's okay to really, you know, have things that provide you security. You just have to make sure there's some balance to it. And also, you need to understand the underlying message. Why am I attached to this? What is it that I'm missing? Where are my needs not being met? So that's really important. So I feel like, you know, if it seems to become a problem or it's getting in the way of your life or it's affecting your relationships, then we need to deal with it in therapy.
Right.
Yeah. So that's kind of my answer on Alan. Alan, I hope that was helpful. I hope your crock pot and your brisket have a great Memorial Day.
Yeah, and you need to send us some brisket, man.
Yes,
even though
absolutely.
I don't eat it, I'll share.
All right, let's look at our next one. Our next one is from Florida Felicia.
Florida
That almost
Felicia.
sounds like a little game. I mean, a little jig I could do. A little Florida Felicia.
Well, you just do it then.
Dear Mental Perk, how do I know if I'm sassy or do I just need therapy? I don't know, because I've been threatened to fight 3 people and a pelican this week.
Well, this is a question for me, the non-therapist.
Yeah, I'm kind of like a non-confrontational person. I wouldn't want to fight people or pelicans. I don't know, but you go for it. This is
if
yours.
the pelican made the list, it's time, baby girl. It's time, right?
Yeah.
It's time to book a session and maybe stay inland for a bit.
Yeah. I think sometimes that pelican can win. They got pretty sharp beaks, don't they?
Well, first off, I'm not going to fight a pelican, period.
Yeah, no.
I'd feed it.
Yeah.
A fish or two.
Do they eat bread?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I think they're
fish
eaters.
Fish eaters, all right.
There may be some, non-pescatarians out there.
So, I look at it as, sass. When you're kind of sassy, you feel empowered, and that's kind of a good thing. I don't know that being sassy is a bad thing. Like, I kind of feel.
I think if it's used in the right context, absolutely.
Like
you and I get sassy.
Yeah,
sometimes,
we get totally
but
sassy.
it's a funny sassy.
Yeah.
Now, if you're getting sassy to be sassing someone,
yeah,
not cool.
You have to kind of decide: is this a shield of defense in a way? Am I trying to avoid being vulnerable with people? Because if that's the case, then I have to really look at what is the purpose. Am I overusing my sass? Am I covering up something that's
An
really
insecurity
underlying?
or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm scared to connect with people, right?
Yeah.
So those things I think we have to watch out for. And if you're just kind of using it to kind of, spice up your relationships a little bit, I think that's fine.
But I think you have to gauge it based on the people you're interacting with. Some
Absolutely.
people are so serious that they can't crack a smile at anything that's hilarious, right?
Exactly.
So you just got to gauge who you're around and not, because I know sometimes whenever I can get sassy, sometimes people read it wrong because they think I'm being too firm or direct, but I'm just being sassy.
Yeah.
And you just got to gauge it back, because otherwise you're leaving that lasting impression that might not be the best impression that you should have put forth.
Again, I look back at balance. You use some of it's like you use sarcasm with balance. You can use sass with balance. A little bit of it kind of spices things up and makes things fun. But when it's overused, it can become offensive.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And again, I think you really got to look at what is keeping me. Why am I using this in order to avoid connecting with people? Because that's the real issue. So really figuring that out and finding a good therapist that can help you kind of walk through that.
So I think you and I kind of went through this recently, and I'm not going to say where or when, but we had someone we were giving a compliment to.
Uh-huh.
And the remark was so sassy when this person came back to us. I was like, I just gave her a compliment, and she totally.
I know what you're talking about.
She totally just I gave you a compliment, but then she one-upped herself and complimented herself even more. I'm like, well, I wasn't going to go that far.
But way to have that confidence. You go, girl.
But she was a little too confident.
Yeah, that's out of balance, right?
It is.
You got to have some humility with your confidence.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I agree
How
with that.
about complimenting me since I complimented you? But okay.
Well, that's the Southern way.
Yeah, that's the Southern way, but I guess she went from the South. Okay. Today's episode is sponsored by Hudson Financial Group. At Hudson Financial Group, their goal is to make sure your life is fully covered. Do you truly understand your current insurance coverages? Are you protected for the things you need and not paying for the things you don't? Come by and let them help maximize and understand your coverage. With access to multiple carriers, they'll find the best protection at your best price for you. Whether it's home, auto, farm, and ranch commercial coverages, bonds, life insurance, or financial planning, Hudson Financial Group is your one-stop shop for insurance and retirement needs. Stop by today. All right, so the next one is from Texas Tina.
A little Texas Tina. That almost sounds like a cocktail. A little Texas Tina.
I'm sure you can come up with something. A little martini, Texas teeny, a Texas teeny.
A Texas teeny.
All right, so here it is. Hey, Mental Perk, should setting boundaries feel this dramatic? I told my cousin no, and now the whole family blocked me on Facebook. My.
That's pretty extreme for a no, right? I'm a big believer in the word no. I think people think it's a bad word. I do not believe it's a bad word. No is a healthy word.
Yeah.
Now, if you're always saying no to avoid people or commitments, that's a little issue, right?
It is different, yeah.
But if you're always saying yes, that can almost be a That can be a bigger
Well,
problem.
because the pressure of feeling obligated to do
Yes.
something. I used to
Burned
be, I think I was
You were
the
a
yes,
yes
yes, yes,
woman?
yes.
I know I was in my
yes,
past.
As I say, yes.
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
I was.
But
But now I'm like you. I kind of, you know what? If it doesn't
Yeah.
fit my timing or my calendar, my schedule's so overwhelming, I'm gonna have to step back and say no. And if you get your feelings hurt over that, sorry.
Yeah, I think you have to have a healthy balance. You have to know where you are in your life. You have to know your level of stress, what's going on in your week. And it is okay to say no.
It's okay to say no.
It's 100% okay to say no. And I think in this situation, poor Tina got the boundary backlash, right?
Yeah.
You know, especially if you've been that yes person and you're like, okay, I can't do this anymore. And I'm starting to say no to more things. People can be so used to you accommodating them that they then turn on you, right?
Yeah.
Because you're trying to set healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
So what do you do in that situation? Number one, I don't think it was over dramatic for her to say no. I do think
either.
it was over dramatic
For the family to block her on Facebook.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, it happens.
Yeah,
It
I mean,
happens.
families are hard.
Well, sometimes families, I've always said this, you and I have had this discussion. Sometimes it's not, a family is your friend sometimes. So it's like, you know, just because you're blood related doesn't mean that you're closer to that family as opposed to like you and I that are super close with each other. So I think it's one of those things that you just kind of, you gauge it, but it's okay to say no.
Yeah, and the boundary was not wrong, especially,
No.
you know, we don't know what's going on.
Well, here's
in
the
Tina's
deal.
life.
If they're blocking you on Facebook and you said no, the issue's probably not with that person that said no. The issue's probably with the people that are blocking you on Facebook.
100%.
So-
And, you know, only Tina knows why she said no or what the circumstances are. We don't really know that situation, but the fact that she felt strongly enough to set that boundary, the people who care about her should respect that.
So Texas Tina, good job on setting a boundary. And
Change is hard.
change is hard, but guess what? Usually when you shut one door, another one's going to open, and it leads to great opportunity.
And I think, Tina, if you are continuing to set those healthy boundaries, but you're doing it in a loving way, your family's going to come around.
Yeah.
And that's the key.
Yeah.
You set those boundaries in a loving, respectful way. And
Right.
eventually they're going to open those doors back. It's not going to be a loss. Family's family, blood's blood. They're going to come back around.
Or if they don't, they don't, right?
They don't. That's
They
true.
don't.
And it does happen that way.
It does happen.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
all right, what's next?
All right. You know, next we have, this is just crazy to me how this happened. Montana Mike. He writes in, hey, Mental Perk, isn't it healthy that my only friend is a mountain goat named Carl? We hike, we scream, we hill. Brandi, this one is yours. This one is all yours. You know, one of my nicknames is Carl, so this is kind of funny to me.
One of your nicknames is Carl?
Well, because like when you call in the cell phone.
Carla K. Caffey is
Carla
Carl?
K. Well, here's the funny thing. So when cell phones kind of first came out and you would call it and it would put your like
The first three letters or
it
something?
would put like it always said Carl.
Okay.
Like if I was calling somebody, it would always come up Carl. So everyone just started calling me Carl.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, I know. So it's kind of funny, and I was like, Mountain Goat Carl. It just kind of brought back those memories. Oh, it was like identifying the phone call. It wasn't
Was it a traumatic like memory?
I kind of got used to it. You know, it is what it is.
It is what it is. That's right.
All right.
All right. So the question is it unhealthy that my only friend is a mountain goat? Okay, here's what I'm going to say. Honestly, there's many times when I'd rather just talk to an animal than not.
Yes.
If Carl's a good listener, Mike, you might want to keep him. I'm just saying, it's cheaper than therapy, and you get some cardio probably trying to chase Carl around to talk to him.
And honestly, I'm not against having pets be that
No, me
emotional
either.
support,
Me
right? I
either.
believe they are a very valuable emotional support. And there is healing in being out in nature, and there's even more healing being out in nature with those sweet little animals, right? So, you know, if Carl and what's his name? Mike and Carl, if they have a tight bond, nothing wrong with that. However,
I'm like, just don't get crazy, Mike.
yeah, don't go crazy. But however, Carl can't replace the need for human contact, right? For human connection. I know you're questioning that, Brandi. I know what you're saying. But as human beings, we weren't meant to be alone.
Well, he's not alone. He's got Carl.
He's got Carl, but Carl can't talk back. Carl can't give him every need. He can't fulfill all of his needs.
No, he can't.
Yes.
I hope he can.
Right. Me too. That's a whole nother issue that we would need to address with a lot of therapy. But regardless.
I don't know if it's therapy or jail.
Or a little of both. Getting therapy in jail would not be.
Okay, I'm good with that.
But you know what? We have to remember, we have to have connection.
We do.
And isolating yourself from people in general is not necessarily healthy. You don't have to have a lot of people. You don't have to be a popular person, but you have to have those few relationships where you build connection and trust. And while Carl's a great companion, he can't be replaced. I mean, you can't replace that need. So I think it's healthy. Again, I go back to the word balance. Find some balance in spending time with Carl, spending time with other people.
You know, another thing, too, you think about, Mike, there's other people that like to hang out with their goats.
Yeah.
And name them.
Yeah.
Get a group together. Like a group.
Oh, yeah, a group
I mean,
of
you guys
people.
can share something in common with, I know this, I'm not trying to sound light on this because it's true. You know, people meet in the park to meet with their dogs.
Yeah,
and have
absolutely.
dog day.
Have goat day.
Have goat day.
Or, you know, they have like goat yoga, have goat hiking.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Is that a good idea?
Do you put the goat on a leash?
It's possible, but I don't think goats need a leash.
I don't
think
either.
they kind of just do their thing.
They do their thing, yeah.
They're very balanced. Like, they can do all kinds of
have
rocky
you seen
stuff.
him crawl
I
up
know.
mountains?
It's
Like
crazy.
straight?
I mean, Carl's a mountain goat.
He's a mountain goat.
So
Okay.
I think this is good.
All right.
Okay.
All right, next we have Nevada Nancy. Nevada, the NN, Nevada Nancy. Middle Perk.
Nevada
okay.
Nancy.
Is retail therapy.
This could be a song, Nevada Nancy.
Yeah.
Like a George Strait song. All my exes live in Texas.
Okay.
And he does all the names.
Yeah.
They all kind of match. It's kind
Yeah.
of this, I'm seeing a vibe.
Okay. All right. Well,
just saying.
Karla, I expect a write up next week.
Okay.
All right. So, Middle Perk, is retail therapy still valid if my credit card is crying? And so am I. That's a good question because I struggle with this too.
This is a good question for Karla because I am a big retail therapy girl.
Yeah, yeah, I
right?
am too.
I mean, even if I don't buy stuff, just walking around shopping, it makes me feel good.
It does me too.
Yeah.
But I got to buy something.
Yeah, I do agree that the buying part makes it even better.
But it's very, you know, here's
But
the
it's
thing.
just
I know the
rewarding. I love
therapist
it.
in you is going to say, that's a temporary high.
Yeah, it's like getting a big old quick dose of dopamine boost,
Yeah.
right? I mean, and it's great in that moment. It's not going to last.
No.
By the time you get home and open those packages and also looking at your credit card
Yes,
bill,
exactly. Even worse, the credit card bill.
you're going to get buyer's remorse.
Or you'll just spend again.
That's a possibility too. I mean, it can
It's a
become
it's a compulsion,
It can
right?
become a compulsive habit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So what's your recommendation for Nancy? Because here's the deal. She's saying it's causing her distress. What do you say
Yeah.
to her?
So shopping isn't really the problem.
Yeah.
I love to shop. I think shopping's a good thing. I'm not going to downgrade shopping because that's
Of course you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what is it that you're really needing in that moment?
Yeah, what's it feeling?
What is that underlying need?
But what if you don't know?
Control, escape, all of those things.
The power of being able to spend money?
The power that goes along with it. Yeah. Or that dopamine boost. Maybe you're in a depression, right?
Okay.
And you don't understand that you have depression and you're
Okay.
getting that boost and it gives you a lift and
Okay,
gives
and
you a
that's
lift.
a very good point I want you to bring up because I know we're spending a little bit more time on Nevada Nancy, but there are also mental health diagnoses. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Diagnoses or diagnoses?
Diagnoses?
I guess. I don't know. Someone out there with good English can correct us.
Tomato, potato, patata. Diagnoses. Okay. Documentary, doco. So
I don't understand that one. That one, pecan or whatever, pecan or I don't know about doco.
I don't even know I don't even know the question anymore. So
retail therapy.
But certain mental health issues can lead, a part of their mental health issues can be a part of compulsive spending, correct?
Right.
And not just retail. It's like,
Yeah, like you can have, if someone is like struggling with bipolar disorder,
Yes,
right?
okay.
And they're in their manic phase, you see them doing a lot of risky behaviors, and one of those can be compulsive spending.
okay.
Yeah.
So advice to Nancy would be, think about what you're doing. I'd almost tell her to journalize how she's spending her money and then maybe go to therapy and see why
Yeah.
she feels
Yeah.
like she feels where she has to spend money, because I don't know about you, but shopping and spending money make you feel good just so you can go home and cry because you did it.
Yeah,
That's not good.
100%.
That's not good.
Yeah, that's not the best kind of therapy for sure. Definitely. Hope that was helpful, Nevada Nancy. Evaluate your spending, kind of figuring out what the motives are behind it, and if needed, seek some therapy on working through those issues and then finding that healthy balance. All right. Here we go. You ready for this?
I am.
Georgia Gregg writes in.
Georgia Gregg.
Georgia Gregg.
Georgia. Oh, yeah, that's better. Georgia.
Hey, Mental Perk. I've been emotionally eating peaches for 5 days. Do I need a therapist or do I need a good farmer?
Both?
Yeah.
I mean, preferably one that takes Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Yeah.
And accepts fruit-based coping. I mean, I think, honestly,
Yeah.
here's the deal. I don't know about you, but could that be unhealthy? I mean,
Well, we go back to compulsion, right? Why are we eating? Because a lot of people emotionally eat.
I get that, but it's not like a peach is bad for you.
No, and congrats to him, propsos for choosing a vitamin-rich coping skill, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
we're going to give you credit on that one. We'll give you that.
But, I mean, if we're talking multiple peaches a day, your blood sugar might go up a lot. I don't know.
It may.
But regardless, you got to go back to the underlying reasons. Why am I eating so many peaches?
I mean, I get if it was like,
are you avoiding other foods so that you don't gain weight?
That's true. So that's all I was going to say. It's not like he's eating 5 hot dogs a day.
Are you just addicted to eating something?
Or is it the sweetness? Are you, is it a sugar addiction? Yeah. Is it whatever it is?
Yeah.
It could be, because peaches are kind of fuzzy. Is it the texture around it? I mean.
See, I don't eat them because of the texture. I don't like peach texture.
Yeah, I know. The outside of it?
Yeah. Mm-mm.
But you like the peach?
No.
All right, well, peaches are good.
I'm an apple girl.
I like peaches with a little sugar on them.
Well, that fits your little southern twang. All right. Yeah. Okay. So it's not, I think it's less about the fruit, more about the feelings. Let's talk about the feelings surrounding eating so many peaches.
Okay.
And am I eating the peaches to avoid something else?
Okay.
Right? So I feel like we got to look at those two issues.
I don't want to pay a bill. I'm going to go eat a peach.
Yeah. But many therapists do take Blue Cross, just like you said.
So get both. Get your peach orchard and get into therapy.
But yeah, those, no judgment. The peaches are very comforting. They are. And so is wine, but we wouldn't want to have 5 glasses of it, right? So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So
everything
really,
in moderation.
Everything in moderation, everything in a healthy balance. Understand what feelings am I avoiding by using this behavior.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I think.
All right. We got, for Karla, Illinois Ivy writes. Illinois Ivy. Kind of like that. I. Call her I. So, Mental Perk, how do I stop saying I'm fine when my life is basically a dumpster fire and a snowstorm? Wow, that, you know what, I don't know about you, but everybody goes through this, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody does this at some point. But saying I'm fine, it's like emotional autopilot.
Right, I do it all the time. You know that.
Yeah, and I'm like, whatever, I can see it on your face, because everything you feel is on your face.
For me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
100%.
It's like 0 to 100. In 5.2 seconds.
Especially when
is that bad, though?
We're going to go through this. Let's talk about it. Okay. So emotional autopilot, a lot of times when we're dealing with so much chaos, you don't want to just throw it up every time you talk to somebody. Yeah. You don't want it just to put it right there in their lap, because when people are a lot of times are like, how are you doing? It's just
superficial,
a formality, but they don't really want to know all the time. I mean, they want to make sure.
Well, then don't ask, right?
No, I think there's some connection there, and most people are going to say good or fine, right? So, but if you really aren't fine, and it's someone that you trust, that you have a connection to, and you're able to be vulnerable with them, I think being able to get through that is important, to let that person know where you're at.
Well, and I think, too, for the people that are like, oh, my gosh, here we go again. Listen, if you know they're going to come up with this long, conversation of, I'm fine, but really I'm not fine, and you know that that's person's known for, don't ask them how they're doing then, right?
Again, I feel like that's not a bad question. And really, I do want, if somebody's not okay, I want them to be, I mean, a lot of times when people ask me that, I'm like, I've had better days, but it's okay, you know? I mean, I'm not going to be like, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Now, because that's typically when you say that, I can automatically tell you, you're not okay.
Well, but I will say for me, if you were to ask me and you knew I was visibly upset,
Yes.
and I said I'm fine, if you keep asking me, I know you're not fine, da-da-da, it shuts me down more.
Yeah.
It really
and for
does.
a lot of people, it does shut you down
It's
more.
like, if I want to tell you, I'm going to tell you.
So I think maybe start with 10% honesty. As in,
What does 10% honesty look
you
like?
know, kind of looking like, hey, I'm holding it together. I've had better days.
Got
You
it.
know, you see what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yep.
So I think that way it's not, you're not being so, I don't know what the word I'm trying to think of, but you're not lying to yourself either, right? You're being kind of out there. You're not holding all that in. You're not letting it build up so much.
Yeah.
If it's someone that you do connect with and trust, and even if it's not a good time to unload all that, say, hey, I'd love to kind of unwind some of this with you. Let's kind of schedule a coffee or something.
Yeah. I like
you
that.
know, but it kind of be aware of the timing. I think that's important, because if you're both kind of passing quickly and you don't have time, you know, let them know, hey, I'm going through something, but let's set up coffee or something, you know.
Yeah.
But rather than I'm fine. But if you really are fine, it's okay to say I'm fine.
Yeah.
But
if you're not okay,
Yeah.
it's okay to say, you know what, I'm not doing so good right now, and I really just need to think about it.
Yeah.
And that other person needs to respect that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that I'm fine is typically a reflex statement, you know. So I think give it a little bit of 10% honesty, put a little bit of something in there.
Yeah.
So that's my advice.
Good advice.
All right. We are going up to Kentucky Karen. Kentucky
I'd hate to have
Karen.
that name.
Yeah. In this day and age,
Yeah.
Karen, we love you.
We do. I didn't even know what Karen meant. Someone called me a Karen one day, and I was like, that's not my name.
That's not my name. Isn't there a song that's called That's Not My Name?
I'm sure if not, Jelly Roll will make one. That's not my name.
That's not my name.
I didn't know what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here she says, mental perk. Can I count yelling at people in traffic as cardio and emotional release?
I mean, yes, ma'am. If it caused you to break a sweat, caused someone else to cry, lost your voice, absolutely. You know, you really just don't want to do that anymore. I mean, what's it going to do?
Not in this
It's
day
not
and
going to help
age.
anything. I mean, I know we're going to get mad. Road rage is real. People do some stupid stuff on the road, especially here in Texas. But honestly, I would say you got to figure out another way to cope.
You know, the cardio that you're getting from being angry is not the same you're getting from your HIIT class, right?
No, it's not a good
It's
heart.
not.
It's not a good.
It's the kind that your body is so tense with stress that
Yes.
it puts pressure on your
Yeah,
heart,
yeah.
right? It's not a puts pressure on a lot of your organs. So that's not the good kind of raising your heart rate
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So if you want to get cardio, go to HIIT class. If you're getting your cardio through anger, we really need to think about getting some help for that.
Yeah.
Anger, I think it gets a bad rap. Anger is not a bad emotion.
It's not a bad thing. It's not.
Anger drives us to change,
Yes.
right? However, what is bad is how people use anger.
Yeah.
The behavior
If you're using it
going
towards
in.
someone else,
Yeah.
but
it's-
like if I'm sitting in my car and I'm just screaming because I got to get it out, or
Yeah.
if I scream in a pillow,
Right.
I think that's healthy because you're doing it for you. You're not doing it to take it out on someone else.
Yes. And on top of that, anger says, okay, something in my life has to change.
Yeah.
I need to do something different because it's not working out. So anger is communicating something to ourselves. When it becomes bad is when people justify bad behavior with anger.
Yes.
And so you really have to learn how to express your anger more healthy. Like Brandi was just saying how she might just like, or I need to scream in my pillow or something. Or what do I go on a big long run and I run faster,
Yes.
or,
I mean,
or whatever
or
that
work
is.
out.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what I'm saying.
When you're pumping in the gym,
Yeah.
you can get a lot of.
Anger out. And those are good ways
Those
to
are good,
release your
yeah.
anger. But then you got to go back and look at what was the underlying message of anger.
Yeah.
What am I dealing with that's building me up to that emotion, right? So those are things that we need to kind of keep track of. Is our anger getting out of control? Is it disturbing our relationships? Is it causing a problem at our job? all those kinds of things. And if that's happening, then we really need to touch base with a therapist and work through healthy ways to express anger.
Yeah.
So that's what I think about
That's
anger.
good advice.
All right.
All right, Karla from Colorado. Chloe.
Love me some
Colorado Chloe says, mental perk is a coping skill or just hiking away from my responsibilities? Is it a coping skill? My bad. Is it a coping skill or just hiking away from my
So
responsibilities?
it sounds like
Is
she's
that a
talking about,
question?
well, I think she's talking about avoidance.
Okay.
Yeah, I looked at this question twice, and I'm thinking she's talking about, is the avoidance a skill or is it avoiding
it
something?
could be both, right?
Yeah.
Depending on the situation?
Yeah. What are you escaping from?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. Yeah, and nature, again, is incredibly healing. When I am in Colorado on the ranch, I'm in a whole new realm of peace and calmness and serenity, and all of those things are wonderful. I love being outside. I love the sun, just getting warmth from the sunshine, looking at the nature. So all of that is crazy healthy. I love that. So if you're out in nature, I think that's a great coping skill. If you're going out in nature again to avoid something or someone,
Yeah. That's not good. That something or someone's going to be there when you get back.
Yeah, it's not going to go away. And
yeah.
you can't stay out in nature. You can't stay out on that hiking trail. You have to go back to reality at some point.
But yeah. They might not have come back,
So
but yes.
we don't want to shame the hike.
No,
the hike is a good thing.
I think it's good because, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten out, and I know with you too, and it clears your mind.
Yeah, 100%. But again, we go back to work on balance. And that seems to be our common theme today is working on healthy life balance.
Yeah.
I think, would you say we can call that our theme today?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So, finding that healthy life balance. And when things become unbalanced, that's when you question, do I need to do something different? Do I need to change my coping skills? Do I actually need to seek help from a therapist to really work on how to bring things back in balance?
Yeah.
So that's what I would think. So again, we don't want to blame the hike. The hike is a good thing. I think that's super important that we do those things. We just have to make sure that we're not avoiding the responsibilities or the people in our life.
Yeah.
All right. I think this is our last question for today, but this is fun. We're going to have to do this again.
It is. So
we're going to keep doing this. We're going to make it a monthly thing.
We are, and I think too, when you guys write into us, try to be a little bit more specific on, I know sometimes you feel like it's intimidating to send in questions because you're like, no one's going to know your last name. No one's going to know who you are. So don't be afraid to.
Even if we change your name
because
a little.
You never know. Your question may help someone else. So.
Yeah.
All right. What's it?
Here we go. Mississippi Marcus. Mississippi Marcus. ISSIPPI. Yeah. Okay. All right. Hey, Mental Perk. How do I process feelings when I was raised to just fish and not talk about it?
Okay, that could be so loaded because you're raised to fish and not talk about it. I don't really know what this means, but I'd say reel it in, and I'd say you're due for releasing some of those, whatever you're dealing with.
We're talking this cast a line approach.
Yeah.
It's not your school of emotion regulation, right? So now I go back to fishing, a great coping skill. Wonderful, wonderful coping skill. I know my husband uses that. If he's stressed and then he goes out and casts a line or two. Something like that. It's really healing for him. So again, we don't want to blame the fish. The fish are great.
Poor fishy.
Fishies.
Yeah, that's a question. Do you catch and release or do you catch and eat? It doesn't matter, but
I don't know that it applies, but it is a good question.
It's a good question.
But there are many country songs talking about just this thing, going out, losing their woman because they're out fishing,
Drinking and fishing.
It was a Brad Paisley song.
Oh, Brad's got some great stuff.
Yeah, so I think that's a Brad Paisley song. Look at me knowing all my songs today. I'm like Radio Karla.
Radio Karla.
Serious Karla. Oh, that's pretty funny. All right. You learn silence is strength and feelings are for someone else. I don't know that that's necessarily healthy. There is time for silence. I will say when your emotions get so heated that whatever is going to come out of your mouth is just going to go pew, 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 pew. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
it makes you feel better, but for the minute.
Yeah.
But then,
a lot of damage can be done in those moments.
For
so
sure.
In that situation, silence is beautiful.
Okay.
But silence as avoidance of feelings, not so healthy.
Right.
Right? You have to be able to talk about your feelings, but you also have to do it at an appropriate time.
Right.
Right? You have to get out of that emotional side of your brain, that emotional mind, and you got to get back to your wise mind. We have 3 states of mind, right? Emotional mind, rational mind, and where they kind of cross in the middle is our wise mind.
Okay.
And that's where we're using a healthy balance of each, and that's where we problem solve.
Okay.
If we're trying to problem solve out of our emotional mind, it's going to be a disaster.
Okay.
If we're trying to problem solve out of our rational mind, there's no connection.
Right.
Right? So black and white. So this is where you have to get into that wise mind before you problem solve and really talk through something.
And that can be hard because, it's easy for the therapist to say what you're saying, but a lot of it is based on who is in front of you and feeding off it. Because you may be able to walk away in that healthy middle and say, but these people are just agging you on.
Right.
So
they're going to bring you into that emotional
yeah.
mind. Right. And that's where you have to be aware. You have to be able to take those timeouts.
And just walk away.
And you need to let someone know, my emotions are getting out of control. I need to calm down.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk away. But you always set a time to come back.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to walk out and have that person feeling like you're abandoning the situation, right? Or that you're avoiding. So you always set a time to come back. I need about 30 minutes. I'll come back and we'll work through this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I say the same thing for parents. Don't ground your children, forever. Tell them what the grounding is. Otherwise, your child's going to get stuck in their emotional mind. But that's a whole nother lesson. We'll talk about that later.
It's very true though, because you got to give them a reason, right? And you got to give them a goal to do better.
You got to give them a time frame.
Yeah.
They can't be grounded forever, right?
No.
So anyway, that's a whole nother parenting situation we could talk about later. But like emotions are like fish. They surface when it's safe, right? So let's kind of look at that fishing analogy. The feelings are going to come up when things are safe. And that's in that safe space in our wise mind, right? That's where we want to deal with them. So don't use it as avoidance. Feelings are important to talk about. Feelings are a form of communication. We have to listen to our feelings. We have to express our feelings. We just need to do it in a healthy way. Yeah. So don't avoid them. But if you need to go fishing to calm down, at least come back to it. And whoever you're having those emotions with, make sure that they understand what you're doing.
Yeah, he comes back. I caught me a 50-pounder. I'm feeling good. Let's talk. No, this is all good. I'm so glad that you guys wrote into us to talk to us about this.
100%.
We want to know more. We want to hear and interact with more of our audience because you never know how much your question can help someone else with what they're going through.
It opens the door, and that's why we love that interaction with you guys. This has been so great. We can't wait to do it some more.
Yeah.
And really just get your feedback. We eventually hope to start going to live calls so that you all can call in the midst of our podcast and talk to us then. It's going to be really fun.
Oh, my.
Super exciting. Yes. So we hope you all enjoyed our statewide mental health check-in today.
Yeah, and thank you guys for writing in. We really appreciate it. Remember, you are not alone, even if your support goat is named Carl.
Yeah, and at Mental Perk, we believe in having fun, but we also want to mix that with some honest dialogue focused on real people, real issues, and real talk. This is Mental Perk. Remember, you're worthy. We're in this together. If you or anyone you know is struggling with mental health issues, please reach out to talk to someone you trust. Get connected to a mental health professional who can help you find ways to cope and ultimately feel better. If you are having suicidal or self-harm thoughts or thoughts of hurting another person, please go to the nearest ER, call 911, or contact the National Suicide Hotline at 988. Thank you for tuning in to Mental Perk. We hope our talk today highlighted real people working through real issues based on mental health. Our goal at Mental Perk is to make sure every one of you knows you're worthy. We're in this together.